This service was recorded on December 15th, 2024. It is the second on Reflections on UU Values, Pluralism, by the Reverend Dr. Mark Y.A. Davies, as presented at Red River Unitarian Universalist Church in Denison, Texas. Welcome from Red River Unitarian Universalist. Thank you for joining us. The religion we practice in this church is centered in the here and now, rather than the hereafter. It is more of a thinking kind of religion than a believing kind. It is governed more by reason than by tradition, more concerned with the present than the past. It is concerned with getting the most out of life, with living wisely and well. A major aim for us is continually expanding our understanding of life and ourselves. This church is a community of people who share in the free and open search for a level of understanding that will enable us to be more fully and effectively alive. The church does not tell us what we must believe. It stimulates us to think. It supports us in our search. You are welcome to join us. Our centering value is love, with transformation, generosity, equity, interdependence, justice, and pluralism.
Come to this place wherever you are, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of learning, all seekers after what is true, all who seek a community of compassion and diversity. Come to this place, whoever you are, though you've broken your vows 1,000 times and you're too busy and you don't have the time, come to this place, whoever you are. Lovers of wisdom, lovers of humanity, lovers of beauty, come to this place where a love we do not make surrounds us and lifts us and nurtures us. Come to this place, whoever you are. Ours is not a community of despair, but of hope, not a place of judging, but of thanksgiving, not a place of certainty, but of searching. Come to this place, whoever you are. Come yet again, come. At this time, we have opportunity to light our candles of community. You can light a candle for joy or concern, or simply to bring more light into our space. Let us stand in body or spirit for our chalice lighting and our spoken affirmation and the lighting of the peace candle. We light this chalice to ignite the divine spark of the universe, whose pronouns have always been plural, a co-creation of brilliance and diversity, a tapestry of souls perfected. Let us join in our spoken affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth and freedom, and to help one another. We light this peace candle to remind us of all the places in the world where there is no peace. Join me in the words now on the screen. Lead me from death to life, from falsehood to truth. Lead me from despair to hope, from fear to trust. Lead me from hate to love, from war to peace. Let peace fill our hearts, our world, our universe. May be seated. Our opening thought comes from Eboo Patel, from his book, Acts of Faith, the story of an American Muslim, the struggle for the soul of a generation. Eboo Patel writes, I thought about the meaning of pluralism in a world where the forces that seek to divide us are strong. I came to one conclusion. We have to save each other. It's the only way to save ourselves. Our next reading comes from Darren Ajemolu, and the work is Why Nations Fail, the Origins of Power, Prosperity, and Poverty. He writes, "Pluralism enshrines the notion of the rule of law, the principle that laws should be applied equally to everybody, something that is naturally impossible under an absolutist monarchy. But the rule of law, in turn, implies that laws cannot simply be used by one group to encroach upon the rights of another." Let's join together now for a time of meditation. Take a moment to center yourself. Put both feet on the ground. Take a moment to breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in and out. Spirit of life and love, be in our hearts and minds this hour. Bless this gathering and this place. Help us today and all days to speak to one another as we would be spoken to, with truthfulness and kindly regard. Help us to hear one another, to respect our differences as an aid to mutual understanding. Help us to acknowledge our limited vision, that together our grasp of truth is much greater than when alone. May we find with each other greater clarity of mind and purpose, strengthened commitment and courage, and a deeper appreciation of our diversity. May we find that renewal of the spirit which comes when people of good faith, reason, and passion come together in community. Spirit of life and love, be in our hearts and inform our minds and deeds this hour and in the days to come. Our next reading is from George Lakoff in his writing Philosophy in the Flesh, the Embodied Mind and its Challenge to Western Thought. He writes, in philosophy, metaphorical pluralism is the norm. Our most important abstract philosophical concepts, including time, causation, morality, and the mind, are all conceptualized by multiple metaphors, sometimes as many as 24. What each philosophical theory typically does is to choose one of those metaphors as right, as the true literal meaning of the concept. One reason there is so much argumentation across philosophical theories is that different philosophers have chosen different metaphors as the right one, ignoring or taking as misleading all other commonplace metaphorical structurings of the concept. Philosophers have done this because they assume that a concept must have one and only one logic. But the cognitive reality is that our concepts have multiple metaphorical structurings. This morning we continue with a series of reflections on our shared values in Unitarian Universalism that were recently adopted by the UUA General Assembly earlier this year. The last time that I was with you, we looked at the value of interdependence. And today, I will be reflecting on the value of pluralism. In relation to the value of pluralism, the General Assembly affirmed this: we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. I would suggest that a shared commitment to pluralism based on the equal worth and value of every person is one of the most important prerequisites for freedom, justice, and democracy. A commitment to pluralism means respecting the freedom of others to make choices about their own lives, to believe and act according to their own conscience and based on their own experience of the world in which we all live. Embracing pluralism is not a rejection of shared values and morality, as some persons may fear, but rather it is a recognition that persons should be free. Persons should be free to make their own choices and to act on those choices in ways that do not harm others. Some of the worst violence and most horrific injustices in human history are owing to societies rejecting pluralism and treating persons who are different from the majority as if they are of lesser or no value. We see this danger manifesting itself again today in the proliferation of religious nationalism around the world. Religious nationalism, in all of its forms, is a threat to freedom and justice for all. There are few things more dangerous than finite persons believing they have absolute certainty about the infinite, who then want to structure the life of their nation around their sense of absolute certainty about the divine. Enforcement of adherence to prescribed sets of religious beliefs has been one of the deadliest enterprises in the history of humanity. Over and over again, the perception of adhering to the right belief has provided people with a sense of divine justification for atrocities, for oppressing, enslaving, and murdering others on a mass scale. Such was the warped worldview of inquisitors, crusaders, conquerors, conquistadors, colonizers, enslavers, and perpetrators of genocide. We see its contemporary manifestation in the surge of religious nationalism around the world. It represents the antithesis of the value of pluralism, and thus the antithesis of the values of liberty and justice for all. The rejection of pluralism that we're seeing here in our own society in the rise of Christian nationalism is a threat to human rights in general and poses an imminent threat to religious freedom and to the rights and well-being of immigrants, especially those who are black and brown, refugees, women, and persons who are LGBTQIA+. Persons who embrace the value of pluralism understand that those who think they have all the answers are actually the most distant from the source of wisdom. We all need humility. We all need the humility to understand that we will never fully understand reality. We will never fully understand the complexities of the cosmos and whatever power brought it into being and sustains its existence. It's just too much for us to fully grasp. Doesn't mean we shouldn't try, doesn't mean we shouldn't continue to learn as much as we can about the universe that we are all a part of, but we will never fully understand it. The cosmos is much too complex to believe that anyone can have a monopoly on the truth about our existence. An open mind, an open heart, these are the best guides that we can have, not certainty, not a sense of thinking that we know the truth. We need an open heart, an open mind, to be a guide to a more just and loving life for us all. Sadly and tragically, we are currently seeing a well-funded and well-orchestrated attack against the value of pluralism in our society. One narrow-minded form of Christianity is being favored and promoted over other forms of religious expressions by many in our nation who hold political power. And the principles of religious freedom for all, no matter what one's orientation to religion might be, and the principle of the non-establishment of religion by the government, these are under threat. These are under serious threat. Public education, which is one of the most important venues where the value of pluralism is experienced, is being weakened and defunded by those who want to keep children and youth from being exposed to an experience of pluralism, and by those who want to use public school funds to finance private and religiously based education. Revisionist history is being promoted to hide the pluralism of our past and to downplay the horrific consequences in our history when the value of pluralism has been rejected. The founders of the nation are Christianized. Colonizers and perpetrators of slavery and genocide are celebrated. And any discussion of the reality of systemic racism in our past and present is increasingly forbidden in our schools. Tragically, our transgender and non-binary siblings are now under widespread and systematic attack by those who would like to erase them from existence, rather than respect their autonomy and freedom to embrace their own gender identity. We must do all in our power to preserve and protect them. We know where the kind of rejection of the value of pluralism we are seeing now will lead us. History is littered with the atrocities committed by those who insisted that their way, that their religion, their ideology, or their cause was the only one with truth and value. And this is why whenever we see the value of pluralism being denigrated or diminished in word, deed, policy, or practice, we must resist it. We must resist it. And the reason that we must resist it with all of our being is because we affirm that we are all sacred beings. That we affirm that we are diverse in culture, experience, and theology. We affirm pluralism. Even if our society becomes a sea of conformity, which many would like to see it become, it is imperative that we do all that we can to preserve islands of pluralistic and diverse community for the well-being of all persons and for the well-being of all life as we continue to work for beloved community, no matter what. No matter what. At this time, we have an opportunity to give. You may bring your gifts to the bowl, or there's also opportunities to give online.
Dream a dream with me that I might
Let us stand in body or spirit for our benediction and the extinguishing of the chalice. We shall overcome. When we can truly celebrate the diversity of contributions and talents offered by all people, we shall overcome hatred and prejudice and oppression. When we can truly extend our hands to one another in loving acceptance, we shall overcome the past that haunts us now. Living in peace and freedom, we shall overcome the wrongs that have happened and the debts left unpaid. Let us join together in that commitment to overcome. Let us join in the extinguishing of the chalice. We extinguish these flames, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.